Ah, there we go. Back up and live. Say hello, Terry.
Good afternoon.
Say hello, Jim.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to Secular Sounds via Periscope. For those of you who have joined us, please leave a message, drop in, say hi. For those who haven't, we've got the window open today. How about that? For those of you who haven't, why not? Come and see the inside of a radio show. Terry, did this sound any better to you earlier?
Yeah.
It did?
Yeah.
Good. Let's just sit that over there. There we go, look at that. Don't fall over. Let's line up Terry's prison. You'll like this, Terry. You will, promise. As soon as you can tell, Jim, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
No, that's not.
Good fun though. Because your windows can't see anything. One more. I've got ages yet. 1 minute 30 seconds. I'll give you sort of nod to 10 seconds, 10, 20 seconds.
I can't hear you.
No, you can't. And if I do that, you should be able to. Can you hear me there?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. I'll give you a nod about 10 seconds.
Okay.
But we've got loads of time. We've got 1 minute 30 seconds.
Okay.
So I have to drive all of this. Look. To the limit. No, we're looking for some studio space. When we get it, who knows? Well, I know it won't. It's got to be with by the end of September.
Are you going to be out?
I don't know what. I think the building's getting handed back or something. I don't know. But we've got to the end of September to be out. But we want sort of 4 times this much space. I don't want to pay for it. Okay, I've got a jingle coming up after this, so we've got 30 seconds.
Did you get a message on there?
I do, if somebody messages it, yeah.
I'll just send it to David.
It's probably gone off the screen by now. 20 seconds. Oh. There we go, I'll put it over here, shall I? How about that? And we're back. Okay, as I was saying earlier, joining me today is. Are you ready for this, Terry? Do you want your present early?
Well, you might as well get it over with.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, no.
Okay, hang on. Let me just line it up. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
Apologies for the quality, but this is a present for Terry. There you go. Terry has his own jingle. How about that?
Hey, that's super, David. Thank you very much for that. Now all I need is a show.
Hang on, let me just have a look at the smiling man's face. There we go. That is a happy man. For those of you on Periscope,
Definitely.
that was I don't know whether you heard that or not. Probably not. But that was Terry's little homage for coming and sitting with me every day. How about that? Jim, while I line up this thing and stand it over here, tell us a bit more about Toastmasters.
Yes, good afternoon, David. I'm a passionate member and supporter of Toastmasters International. When people first hear the word Toastmasters, they envisage men in red jackets officiating at weddings and...
I'm just going to turn you off, Terry. Yeah, okay, sorry, Jim.
officiating at weddings and civil ceremonies. This is Toastmasters International, which is an entirely different organisation. It's a worldwide educational, not-for-profit organisation which helps people develop leadership and communication skills. I've been a member for 10 years, and I wish I'd found it 30 years earlier. It's been around for nearly 90 years now, since 1924 in fact, so I could have used the skills that I've collected as a member in the last 10 years in the early part of my life to better effect, I'm sure.
I was going to say, some of you may have been watching the Periscope earlier, and I think we both had that conversation, didn't we? The correct way to sometimes put yourself across is lost on the young, isn't it? Wisdom is a gift for the old or something.
Indeed. In fact, this organisation was started by Dr. Ralph Smedley in 1924, and his role at that stage was he was educational director of the YMCA in California, and he recognised quite early on that young people aren't necessarily the best communicators. They lacked confidence and competence at delivering their message, and that was the start of Toastmasters International.
And it's a great start for an organisation. Things changed. I know maybe within Toastmasters they have, but have the reasons changed? Because I'm not sure they have.
Fundamentally, the reasons for joining Toastmasters are usually because people lack the confidence to stand up and speak in public. It's considered one of life's fears. Strangely, people are quite happy to sit around a table in meetings and talk face to face, but as soon as they're expected to stand up in front of their peers and deliver a speech or a talk or a presentation, the palms go sweaty and the mouth dries up.
Well, there's a difference as well, isn't there, I suppose, between doing what we're doing now. We're sitting, talking, having a nice conversation, everything's great, we can ramble on as much as we like and get back to the point, which is kind of how I focus. However, from the perspective of actually being able to communicate, conversation and communication are different, aren't they? If you've got a point to put across, then you have to know how to do it.
Absolutely.
Do you think we teach that?
I don't think we teach it enough at schools. I think it is something that should be taught much earlier in schools. Some schools do have speaking clubs, to their credit if they do. Many don't. And yet communication is a vital life skill.
Terry?
Yes.
When you brought... hang on, I've got to play it again. Sorry, I've got to play this again for you, mate. There we go. Terry. All those years ago when you brought Drifting to the UK, how did you overcome the communication? Because you brought people over from all over the world, really, didn't you, and focused them on so I'm assuming communication was a big part of that.
It was key. I mean, obviously, when you start something from nothing, although, you know, it did exist around the world, I mean, it wasn't something that I created. It comes from Japan. The thing I did was sort of bring it to the UK. However, from that, I was invited to Belgium to start the Belgian Drift series and help them out there, and was interviewed on Motors TV because I was the only one that spoke English. Now, that might make some sense to some people, but the problem was the organisers were Dutch. It was in Belgium, so none of them could speak proper English, who understood about drifting, and they sort of grabbed hold of me because obviously I understood drifting, and so I had quite a nice little interview, which I've got on film, of course.
Of course.
Of me explaining to the wherever Motors TV went out then, to what drifting was about, and I also had a part input into drifting in Lithuania. I met the guy who wanted to start it out, or did start it out there, and he wanted me to take a crew over. So, yeah, communication was very important.
So how did you overcome that language barrier? I know you would.
They spoke English.
They all spoke English.
Yeah, Lithuanians, most of them do speak English. In fairness,
there's going to be a whole other show based around this, because I think as a Jim's smiling now because he knows what's coming, because he knows my opinion. I think. And this is my opinion, not second left sound before I get anybody in trouble, but I don't think I would. As a culture, I don't think we learn enough languages. I well, actually all three of us do bits and pieces for Young Enterprise, and you come across a broad section of people, and it always ashames me to a degree that I speak one language, relatively fluent, although apparently not so. In English, I speak a little bit of Pidgin French and even less Italian, and I keep saying I'm going to learn, but I don't. So keep an ear out to this station in the next couple of weeks, because I really do think we don't learn enough. If you are based within Milton Keynes and you are multilingual and you'd like to come and chat about the language issues.
I think you mean chat.
What did I say?
Chart. We're not top of the pops here.
It's been a really long day. Okay, if you can speak at all, drop me a line, tweet me at Transition Sounds, email me via the station email, which is www.seclosounds.org. Attach it to the attention of either me or Transition, and one of the team will get it and translate into very simple syllables so I can understand it. Jim, what's your thoughts on language? Did we learn enough?
The reality is that the world has chosen pretty much English as its commercial language, and that's the reason I think that we don't speak as many foreign languages as some of the other Europeans do. I actually lived and worked in Belgium for 4 years, so I speak French, and I did spend quite a bit of time travelling in France, selling to French people. But you can't do that unless you can speak French. Once you've proven that you can speak French, they want to practice their English on you. A bit of a twist, but that is the way of the world. English is the commercial language wherever you go.
Yes, I mean, my mother-in-law lives in the very, very south of Spain, but kind of in a bit of a rural, up in the mountains. I mean, literally in the mountains. When it rains, they can't leave the house for 3 days because the road at the bottom's a river. You know, it's a rural Spain. And we went over there to see her, and I really did expect that everybody would speak English. And you're right, nobody speaks English at all, but once you've actually spoken to them in Spanish, they'll then happily communicate with you in English, but they don't let on at all until you've made the initial comments. Terry, you brought people over from Japan. Japan is not just it's not just a language barrier, is it? There's a lot of rich culture with Japan, and you can very easily get things wrong. I mean, was that just the drifting was the common theme?
Well, to be honest, the Japanese language, the modern language, uses the same words we do. The basic Japanese is from Shogun times years ago, and they haven't got words for things like engines or distributors, or there's no Japanese word for it. So they actually use that within the Japanese that they say. Which I found quite interesting. I mean, I sat with a bunch of 15 D1 drivers and their superiors in a restaurant, and I actually understood what they were not what they were saying, but what they was talking about. You get a gist of what they're talking about, but to go up to someone in the street and talk about something, you know, it's very, well, it's impossible because Japanese is very complicated, although I did learn some. I've forgotten it now, but I did learn some Japanese.
I think if you're immersed in a culture, then you absorb that language a little bit easier than if you're trying to pick it up off a classroom.
Yeah, but I also believe if you're sort of dealing with people like that, it's a courtesy to learn their language.
Absolutely.
And you know, as much as I've never been anywhere near Japanese, I tried really hard to learn it. And you know, we all know the one, you know, konnichiwa, which is hello, sort of, but they have different greetings for the morning, for lunchtime, and the evening, which I learned them as well. So konnichiwa is a general, whereas the others, which I can't remember now, if I'm honest.
I was really thinking for a minute when I was dissing our Snurling language that I was going to say to Terry, how did you get on in Japan? And he was just going to come back with fluent Japanese, you know.
No, I still would like to learn Japanese because I found it a very interesting language. I mean, I'm the same, you know, I think a lot of us are the same. We've got one language. I mean, what I've found is not only when I was at school, but even from my grandchildren today, French teachers are about as much good as no good. Now, I say that with tongue in cheek.
Let me just put it out here. Terry is with us most weeks. If you are a French teacher within Milton Keynes, or a French speaker within Milton Keynes,
I can introduce you to a few.
Oh, please do. Yes, absolutely. Let's get you on the show. Let's have a chat about learning French. Sorry, Terry, I couldn't resist it. It just had to be done.
No, yeah, but don't misunderstand what I said. I mean, obviously, it's down to the children to learn. But I think what I've found my own experiences, and obviously what I learned from the children, is that if you don't want to learn the language, or if you play around, then the teacher will ignore you.
I think that's a much bigger picture than just French, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but what you found is that most of the children, in my daughter, I can only talk about my granddaughter's school, they choose German. They won't choose French, they choose German. Why, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But they always seem to want to do German rather than, even my own daughter, she did German, she didn't want to do French.
Okay. Well, I think that's given plenty to think about from there. This is really cheesy. I'm really sorry, but it's just begging for it, isn't it? Nicely done.
Don't want to drop yourself in a bit.
Two of my members at Toastmasters are both French. One of them's a teacher.
Yeah.
And both of them have won speaking contests in English.
Yes.
At national levels.
Let's introduce them to Terry.
Well, my friend's sister, she done a degree in French.
Right.
She wanted to work in France.
Mm-hmm.
When she got out to France, they didn't understand a word she said.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Because when you
it's
learn...
the same as us.
Colloquially,
Yeah.
If you learn English and go to Yorkshire, they ain't got to do what you're
I
talking
don't. Honestly, I went to Scotland. My missus is Scottish, and
Yeah.
we went up to Scotland and I tried to order haggis and chips. Right?
But did you ask for the fried Mars pack?
I couldn't even get chips, Jimmy. It was terrible. She had to step in, I swear, she just said chips, exactly the same as I did. And he got it completely, but from me, he just kept looking at me as if I had no... And I mean, honestly, it was so funny.
My daughter was born in Belgium. She came over here only 7 months old.
Yeah.
Her first language was French. My wife didn't speak English when we came back to
Isn't she?
No, so
Is your wife French? Or
she's Belgian.
Dutch?
French speaking.
Ah,
French speaking Belgian.
I did not know that. There you go. Learn something new every day.
But when we were in France, my vocabulary in French was much more.
Yeah.
Her accent was natural.
Yeah.
I'd ask for something in French,
Not get it.
and they'd respond to me in English. she would ask for something in French, and they'd talk to her in French.
There's a lot in it, isn't there? Language is huge for those listening on Periscope, which is a few. Please, any thoughts? Drop us a line. We're in the studio via that as well as this, so it's all very complicated.
I've actually got it on today.
I noticed you even responded. Was that you that responded to me earlier? There you go.
I did at home. Did you get on the way?
I did, yeah. Anyone tweeting us?
I think language is a very controversial subject.
It is. That's why I brought it up.
But I believe we should, you're right in what you say about English is, but when I went to Sweden, none of them spoke English where I went. In the towns, all English.
If you'd spoke to them in Swedish, would they have then come back in English? Because I know Canada's a lot like that, isn't it? If you don't initiate the conversation in French, they will not speak to you back in English.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got all the family, we tried to learn words, like when we ordered stuff, we ordered it in Swedish. They knew we weren't Swedish, but, I think it shows a bit of respect that you're trying to use their language in a way.
It's a courtesy.
I think so.
20 seconds. I think they do. You think the Polish, their English is a lot better than 5. And welcome back. You're listening to Secular Sounds, community radio from Milton Keynes. My name's David Stimson. The show's transition. With me today is Jim Reynolds, and wait for it. There you go. He's got a big smile on his face for that one. He likes that one. Yeah. So we're talking all things all things language really. Jim, you're the expert on talking.
I've never ever called myself an expert since I heard it described as a little dribble under pressure.
Oh yes.
So an added supporter of Toastmasters, but I don't.
But not an expert. Yeah, no, I don't blame you on that one. Explain how Toastmasters works. How do we get through being a Toastmaster?
Okay. Starting point is come to a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 clubs in Milton Keynes. The next nearest one is in Bedford, so there's plenty of choice. They're all very friendly. I'm a member of one, and I started another. But you'll get a good welcome at any of the clubs in Milton Keynes. Come and just sit, listen, join in if you want to.
Okay.
No pressure.
Are there any age limits on?
Unfortunately, you have to be 18 plus, yes, so
Right.
it's not aimed at the youngsters. There are Toastmaster programs that you can do for youngsters that have been involved in some.
Yeah.
But the Toastmaster Club itself is aimed from 18 plus.
And that's boys and girls, is it?
Oh, absolutely, yes. In fact, it's almost 50-50 worldwide.
That's interesting because there's not many things that are, is there?
This is,
Are there?
yeah, it's pretty much 50-50. I think it's slightly loaded on this side of females. 55, 45, something like
Wow,
that.
that's
And that's with a membership of 313,000 worldwide.
that's a lot of people.
In 14,650 clubs in 126 different countries.
Can you tell? Either Jim is really good or he's got notes.
The answer is both.
Sadly, I have to agree with that. I can't. I'd love to argue it. I really would, but I can't. How do people find out about Toastmasters?
You can Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Toastmasters International. That will get you onto the international site.
Yeah.
Local people can go onto the MK website, which is
.com.
www.mktoastmasters.com.co.uk.
Fantastic.
I say there are 4 clubs in the local area. The one in
Yeah.
Bedford, 3 in Milton Keynes. They meet on different days, so I usually encourage people to try any or all of them to see which one suits them from a time scale, and which one they
Yeah.
enjoy being at.
Can you be a member of more than one club?
Oh, absolutely. I was for a long time.
Fantastic.
Having started the club in Cranfield,
Yeah.
I remained a member for the first 4 years. So I was a member
Mhm.
of both North Bucks which is my home club,
Yeah.
and Cranfield. Some people are members of 3.
If here's a question for you: if you're travelling across the country and you find yourself, say, in Newcastle, can you look up the nearest Toastmasters club and just pop in as a
You would
as a
be
guest?
absolutely welcome with open arms. People love that.
Fantastic.
Clubs love that.
I mean, that's a real big thing for all of
Not
these sort of
just across
clubs.
the
isn't it?
UK. It's in 126 countries.
That's true.
We have had members that have, when they've been on holiday abroad, have gone into clubs abroad, and as I say, they're welcomed with open arms.
That's a really, really good thing. Education-wise, you mentioned there's some younger programs. Can you fill us in a little bit about those? Or
Yes, there is such a thing called a gavel club, which is open to those that can't get in through the normal channels to the Toastmaster Club, which will include, of course, youngsters under 18. It can only be run by a Toastmaster,
as it should be.
as it should be, because there is copyright involved, and they want to preserve the standards. But there's nothing stopping somebody becoming a Toastmaster and then opening up a gavel club for youngsters, should they want to do so.
So, again, I'm going to throw this back out to the education world in Milton Keynes. If you are a principal of a school, or maybe you, a link teacher or a lead teacher looking for something to bring in as maybe an extracurriculum activity, again, please do consider that as an option amongst all the others.
Absolutely open to them, yes. There's also a youth leadership programme, and I've been running some of those locally in Milton Keynes. I've been working for the last couple of years with Oak Grove School,
Mm-hmm.
and I've adapted the youth leadership programme to concentrate principally on presentation and evaluation skills.
What do you see a change in the students as they go through the programme?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so do they. The comments I get back at the end are always, they're always grateful for the time that
Mhm.
I've put in, and they've all accepted that they have improved their communication skills. Particularly, the age I'm teaching at Oak Grove is 17s.
Right.
So, and it's to help them prepare for their EBQ presentation. They've got to do a 10-minute presentation.
Yeah.
And I run an 8-week programme which gives them 2 opportunities to present and edit. I also have each presentation evaluated by one of the other students.
Wow.
Evaluation is a great way of improving your skills, not just the ability to talk, but the ability to listen, because communication, surprise, surprise, is actually a 2-way process.
Yes. I think we forget that sometimes. Like, I've got to get my point across. I've got to get my point across. Well, actually, if you just stop and listen, you might even find out that your point is my point, and we do have some very common ground here.
Absolutely. The listening skill is very much part of what Toastmasters teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
The system works primarily because you are being evaluated by your peers. So every presentation you make will get some feedback. That feedback will be constructive. It won't be a whitewash because nobody learns from a whitewash. But any suggestions will be presented in a positive manner, such that the speaker goes away feeling they've learned something from it and they have enjoyed the experience. So it's a very supportive
I would imagine
environment that you're in.
it adds a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
I have seen Toastmasters change people's lives beyond recognition.
I can agree with that. Actually, I can see how easily that is. Terry, did Brilliant Drifting in the UK change you?
Did what, sorry?
Brilliant Drifting here change you
Absolutely, yeah.
for the better?
I think so.
These
Could that
things.
be any worse?
Users, listeners out there, if you have an opinion, no, we won't go there. We won't refer back to last week or the week before's conversation about social media and consider your opinions. Yeah, I mean, while we're talking presentation, I'm just going to quickly announce this, that we have, bear with me while I bring this over here, we have Come Dine With Me. Casting in Milton Keynes. The shoot dates will be 14th to 18th of September again. So, if you fancy Come Dine With Me, what I'm going to... no, I do know what that is. I do know what... I was going to say I didn't know, but I do know what that is. That's the one where you go around each other's houses and have dinner, isn't it? Yes, in cul-de-sacs. No, that was the 70s. That's something completely different. I'm going to get shot. Yes, so if you're interested in that, please do visit the website, drop them a line. It's Come Dine With Me, come into Milton Keynes. Looking for people now, and they will be shooting within this area 14th to 18th of September, which is fantastic. So if you fancy being on the telly and showing off your culinary skills, I don't think my chicken nuggets and chips is going to go very far, is it? Although I do a fairly decent slow cooked beef, but you know, that's probably...
Is that an invitation?
What, for dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Terry, you can come round for dinner any time. All you've got to do is bring it with you, and I'll happily sit and eat with you. So, does that appeal to you, Jim?
No. I've watched the programme. I'm not sure I can take some of the criticism.
I can happily smugly laugh about this because I've worked with Jim. Just for those of you who think that I'm maybe being a little bit cheeky with a guest expert, I've worked with Jim now for 4 years? Yes. We are both avid supporters of Young Enterprise. We're both on the board, and our backgrounds are strangely similar, as are our current situations. So I can be a little bit cheeky there, and I know his opinion on new style celebrity, shall we say. All too well, and I kind of agree with it, but I'm going to leave it at that.
I'm not a critic of the programme. I think I have watched it, and some of it's very entertaining. I just wouldn't want to be part of it.
I don't mind the... I like the Come Dine With Me show as it stands. I'm not a great fan, I suppose, of the celebrity one. But then I'm not a great fan of the celebrity Big Brothers and all the rest of it. Although it does show some of them in a different light sometimes, doesn't it?
Just
Terry, do you watch it?
No,
No.
I don't watch programs like that, I'm afraid.
Oh, highbrow stuff for Terry.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. Now look, don't knock Tom and Jerry. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from
Scooby-Doo.
Tom and Jerry. Well, I suppose we can learn a bit from Scooby-Doo. So, Jim, Toastmasters, bearing in mind the effects they can have on people, would you maybe suggest... Let's talk just the school programme again. The thing with these clubs and these activities, they tend to attract... I'm trying to think of a way of saying this correctly. I can't, so I won't. The higher end education spectrum. Now, I've seen it within Young Enterprise of the opposite of that. When we've managed to bring in people that maybe aren't the A grade students, they really do get a lot out of it. Would you say the same thing for Toastmasters?
Absolutely. Anybody that wants to participate will get something from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that the programme I'm running with Oak Grove is the more advanced students.
Yeah.
They're going into the university year, so they probably are the cream. But we have done programmes not just at that level, but at lower ages, around the 14, 15.
Yeah.
They get benefits from it too.
I think that's right. I think sometimes, let's say, sometimes that the non-A grades, the mid-range to the D's and E's, sometimes feel that these at-school adventures, these clubs and things, may be something that's outside their reach. If you're listening out there, although you're probably not, because it's a lovely sunny day and it's the middle of the school holidays, and it's only... Oh no, it's 4:30. Some of you probably are awake by now unless you're at uni, in which case there's no chance of that. I can guarantee there isn't a uni student anywhere in Milton Keynes awake unless they have to work. Uni students, please drop me a line at the usual Techno Sounds or tweet me via @TransitionSound. Yeah, I think while I dodge the onslaught of uni students telling me that they've now been up since 2:30, we should have a listen to this. Cheers, guys.
If you want, I will run through a typical Toastmasters meeting because it addresses the three skills. So, impromptu speaking, where you're given a subject when you get to the podium.
Yep.
It's right where I felt a lot of people.
And me.
And once you get to grips with that, that's a great deal of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenge, but it's a great deal of fun.
I can see
then
that.
The prepared speeches, which is a speech you've prepared according to the projects in the manuals. And then everything is evaluated. So there's actually 17 speaking roles in the Toastmasters meeting.
Whoa.
Typical meeting. Some from just the timekeeper and explain what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Right up to the Toastmaster who actually runs the meeting, which is what I'm doing tonight if you want to come along.
Yeah. I don't
General evaluation, who evaluates the evaluators. So everything you do is evaluated.
That's a
It's
lot,
actually
isn't
what
it?
makes it work.
John Dow keeps on to me.
Oh, John, yeah, John's one of them. Yeah. Well, I know
Keeps on
John.
going.
I knew him initially through Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And then through the Young Enterprise because he helps us out.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does. It's funny, we're all kind of in that same ilk, aren't we?
Yeah, he helps us at Young Enterprise.
No, John's and he's got a thing for monkeys. Sorry, John, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Are they monkeys or are they? No, they are monkeys, aren't they? They're little Tarzan things, aren't they? With big, huge round eyes. Yeah, and that looked great on telly. I tell you.
Yeah, because I used to do network meetings with him,
Okay.
and is it Tarzan?
Something like that. Tarzan, there's some form of monkey.
Virtually extinct, and he's part of a charity that
Okay.
keep pushing.
Interesting man, this John.
It's got great background, great story.
And the legal group.
Yeah. Yeah. Consults now for the NHS, doesn't he, on ambulance servicing and stuff. John, if you're listening, please do get in touch and correct me when I'm wrong. Sure I am. I thought that was for a horrible minute there. I thought that was John getting in touch. It's nothing to do with monkeys. What are you on about? Sorry, John.
It's quite timely there.
There is when we're live. Don't actually know why that's feeding back quite so much. But, hey, right. Oh, welcome back to Secular Sounds. It says I didn't want to play it. Just, there we go.
We had together on a Friday between 8 and here on Secular Sounds. We bring you.
Welcome back to Secular Sounds. I'm David Stimson. With me still is Jim Reynolds, and we also have. Shall I do it again?
Go on.
Do you want it again?
Go on then.
I can see that becoming somebody's ringtone, if I'm honest, next time I get hold of his phone. Look, honestly, I mean, talk about a smile on someone's face. Hang on, let me just point, there you go. There's a very happy man sitting over there in a bright orange t-shirt. Jim, we were talking, and some of the people on Periscope undoubtedly heard, we were talking during that track about the Toastmasters setup and how it works. Do you just want to run us through a sort of fairly standard Toastmasters event?
A typical
typical. That's it. That's the words I was looking for.
Okay, so it is a club. It's open to anybody over 18. So the process that we will follow is the same in each club. So it's a fairly structured approach to tackling communication and leadership skills. The fact that the members are different in each club means that the clubs are different, because they have their own personality, their own character, depending on who's in the club. But each of them will be effectively doing the same thing, maybe in different order. In my club, North Buck Speakers, we start our evening with impromptu speaking, where we have an elected table topics master who will have a theme and present a subject on which they ask their victim to respond when they get to the podium, and they have between a minute and 2 minutes to respond to the questions. So it is unpracticed.
That's very similar to I've been watching
just a minute
the event, the debate thing that's been on of late. So it's very much along the lines of learning how to
respond. Yeah, it happens in real life, doesn't it? One day you'll get your boss come along and say, "What have you done about this?"
Yeah, that's why I work myself.
And you have to think on your feet, and so you will learn techniques for dealing with being asked something on the spot and creating a space in your mind to think about it when you're responding.
Not
the first time you come across it, it might seem a bit daunting. I have to say that most of the club members eventually see this as the fun part of debating. Most of us enjoy it.
It's a very hard thing to do, though, isn't it?
It's like everything. It's a learned skill.
Yeah.
Like public speaking is a learned skill.
So where after that does it go? What's next?
We then have speeches, usually 4, running from usually 5 to 7 minutes long, that are being presented by individual members who have prepared that speech in advance, and it will be to meet a particular project requirement. The thing is structured such that there are multiple levels of speech accomplishments. When you first join, there are 10 projects to complete, which take you to what we call a competent communicator.
Yeah.
Each of those projects concentrates on a different speaking skill. First one is just having the courage to get up there and talk. It's an icebreaker.
That takes a lot, though. That's probably the hardest step, I would say.
The first one is invariably the hardest. It certainly gets easier after that. So you'll have 4 people speaking. The content of the speech is always up to the speaker. It's not dictated. It's entirely up to the speaker. The only criteria is that you must not offend your audience, which is not unreasonable.
I think that comes back that fits again with our conversation a few weeks back when we were talking social media and should you be able to put up anything you like on your wall. And as Terry said, yeah, but take it in mind that you once it's out there, isn't it? So don't upset, don't offend, and again you're saying the same sort of thing, which is great because it means we're talking some sense here sometimes. But research your subject and understand what you're saying before you start saying it.
Yes, I mean it doesn't have to be a serious subject. You can tell stories. I mean, as once you've completed your competent communicator, there's a choice then of 15 ongoing advanced manuals, and you can choose 2 manuals to do the next level and 2 manuals to do the next level and so on.
Whoa. And
it covers subjects as diverse as storytelling to technical presentations to actually television interviews. So it's quite diverse.
Yeah.
So having completed what we call the formal speeches or the prepared speeches, we have a break, we socialise. Then the second part of the meeting is about evaluating the first part of the meeting. So we will have a table topics evaluator who will evaluate the table topics master and the 4 respondents to the table topics session, giving some constructive feedback. And then each of the speakers will be evaluated by a different evaluator who will have been pre-assigned and who will give some feedback on what they liked about the speech and what they thought they might be able to improve.
Yeah, so is it key, do you think, to get your personality across, make something unique rather than just speak?
I think that rather depends on what you're aiming the speech at. If you're aiming the speech at projecting yourself as a person, then clearly you want to inject some personality.
Yes.
If it's going to be very factual, you need to present it in such a way that you make it interesting, but it shouldn't necessarily be dominated by your particular personality.
Nicely. I see. This is the skills that you can learn by going to do these things. Do you think it helps with things like job interviews, etc.? I mean, I can't see how it doesn't.
I have no doubt that it does. Absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever. I sometimes tell the story that no names, no background, but we once had a young lady turn up at a Toastmasters meeting, and she was the archetypical wallflower. Come into the meeting, back against the wall,
Quiet.
Sat down, never said boo to a goose. I eventually got her to stand up and speak on table topics. That person has gone from strength to strength to strength. Some people listening might recognise who I'm talking about, but I'm not giving a name. I have since seen her deliver a speech on belly dancing, dressed as a belly dancer. She went on to become the club president and ultimately the area governor. She is a very accomplished speaker.
That's
If that doesn't show you how confidence can be built, I don't know what does.
I agree. While you're here, Jim, because it would be wrong not to, we're both huge supporters of Young Enterprise. Do you want to put out that request for advisors for September that we can absolutely get it out?
Yes, both David and I are board members of Milton Keynes Area Board of the Young Enterprise. Young Enterprise is again an educational charity, and it's about helping young people develop entrepreneurial skills. The company program, which is the one that we're both deeply involved in, is involved in getting a group of 16-year-olds.
Yeah, 16 to 18.
Who will start their own company, elect their board of directors, choose their product or service, sell it, keep the profit.
Oh yes.
After they pay taxes, of course. And they will have a whale of a time over an academic year. They're helped by a teacher in the school who facilitates the meeting and an external advisor who's just somebody with some burnt finger business experience. And we are always on the lookout for helpers who would be prepared to give up an hour and a bit a week to go to a meeting with these youngsters and help them develop their business skills. Our future depends on our younger generation.
It absolutely does, and strangely, from some of them that I thought when I got involved with Young Enterprise, I know our Drifting Don over there is exactly the same. He thought the same thing when he first came into one of the schools and did a day term event with them. That the belief of our generation, if you like, is that the younger generation are this, that, and the other, and they don't really know anything and they just play games. I'm sorry to that younger generation. You have incredibly impressed me. I mean, there's a group of guys that come in after us sometimes who've been here for the last few months now doing team matters. Again, incredibly professional guys, put me to shame. Which, yes, I know, before somebody tweets and says it's not that hard, but you know, I try. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge thing, and again, a big part of that is once more presentations. Even in all the day programmes, I think there's always a huge drive for presentation. Terry, how do you fancy standing up in front? Hang on, shall I?
No.
I can't help it, right? So, yes, Terry, how do you fancy standing up in front of people?
I've done it for many years.
Well, you've been on telly, haven't you?
I've been on telly, yeah. I've been interviewed on telly. I've had programmes on telly. I've also been on the Barrymore show and a few other shows.
On what show?
Barrymore.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Have you?
I knew Michael Barrymore very well.
Oh, hey.
Shame, but there you are. He's a nice guy. I ain't going to go into that, but yeah. But in saying that, I think something like Toastmasters, you're never too old to learn, because although I've done it, I don't mean to say I've done it very well.
Would you be interested in Toastmasters? Yes. Okay, there's the man to speak to.
Yes, I would, because John keeps saying to me about doing it, and I think, no matter how old you are or how young you are, and how experienced you think you are, there's
always
much
something
more to
more.
learn.
Absolutely. Jim, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the show?
I'd just like to comment on what you just said there. I came to Toastmasters quite late in life. I had already presented in front of hundreds of people. I didn't lack confidence. I now realised I lacked a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I wish I'd found it some 30 years before. Yes, I would like to throw an open invitation to join us for an open evening at North Buck Speakers on September the 3rd, it's a Thursday, from 7:15 through to about 9:30. We are having an open evening, and it will give anybody who wants to get a feel for Toastmasters a good insight to what goes on in the Toastmasters Club. It's at the Well at Willem.
Oh, yep.
Google that too.
I know that
Easy
well.
enough to find.
Well,
And
yes.
anybody would be very welcome.
Fantastic. Have you got that electronically?
Yes.
If you drop that to me electronically, I'll send it into the station and make sure everybody else sees that as well.
Okay.
Terry, you interested in going to that?
Yeah, definitely.
Good, that's what I like to hear.
Definitely.
I think, just to wrap up now, because we're nearing the end of the show, we've had several different conversations over the last few weeks with a variety of guests, and they're all based around confidence and success and what is success and how do we get there, etc., etc. Well, there's a common theme coming out of this, and it is communication, and not. I'm going to say not just verbal communication. There's more to communication. There used to be written and verbal communication, and they would pretty much cover you through everything. And I think now we've also got the whole social side that we have to accept. The whole fact that this is a radio show, but it's also going out on Periscope. It will also be on YouTube in a few days' time. It's then onto a podcast. So you've got to be rich in pretty much every media, haven't you? It's a new world, a good world. Anything to add, guys, just before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about Toastmasters.
Absolutely.
It is a passion.
You I'll extend this. Actually, I haven't said this to you. I will extend this invite to you now. It's slightly dangerous for people that don't care. All of my guests that come on the show, I offer you a free invite to turn up whenever you like. You don't even have to tell me you're coming. Just ring the doorbell on the front door. My glamorous assistant over here will probably scurry along and let you in. And you can come on the show and just jump in at any time. So far, no one's called my bluff. There's a few people threaten me every week.
I'll come.
You do.
Yeah.
You're good. I couldn't do without you, Terry.
I might call you bluff too.
Absolutely. Just pop in, say hi. jump on the mic and enjoy the afternoon. You know, it's a good place to be. So I've been Dave Stimson. This is Transition. We will be back next Thursday. I forgot what day it was. That is terrible. We will be back next Thursday between 4 and 5. Please do tweet us your ideas. Look us up on Periscope. Come find us on LinkedIn. And have your say. Until next week. Bye. And to you on Periscope, see you next week if I'm not back before.
Bye, Dave.